The breath is the pharmacy of our body. Breathwork, it was the alchemy of how we attune to ourselves and how we can go into our body. When I am inside, I can change the mindset because we all have subconscious program that are running the show. We think that we run the show, but we are run by our programs that we have in our mind, programs that most of the time they are against us and they are not with us. Through breathing, then we can come consciously into the present moment way more faster and effectively. And so our hands are kind of a projection of our heart. So our hands has special abilities. So with reconnective healing, we can heal others or heal ourselves. I say that to everyone, I want to live 144 years. And my father hears, what kind of world are you living? Because I think we are not living in the same world. Breathe and live, and don't just live to breathe.
So, Bogdan, thank you for joining us today. Your journey has involved significant shifts from working at Daimler Truck AG to becoming a breath and mindset coach. Can you tell us a bit about the pivotal moment that inspired this transformation?
Thank you very much. I'm originally from Romania, but 11 years ago I came to Germany because I have studied law school and public administration in Romania. But unfortunately, if you don't have someone in your family who is working in this business, then it's kind of hard to find a job. So I had the call from my now currently my father-in-law, but back then it was just the father of my future wife. And then I said, okay, I will come to Germany for a while and see what will happen. I have started to work with him as a handcrafter, and after that, I found a job at Daimler Truck in production. This work was not the dream of the the dream job that I thought, but it was a good opportunity for me to learn, to engage with the people, and to see how the world really is. When I was 21, that was the moment when I started to meditate and to really get into the personal development, because I felt a drawing into courses and to get into networkings and engage with more and more people and to find out what is my mission on this earth, or who I am, and what kind of legacy I want to let. And 5 years ago, a friend of mine sent me a YouTube video with Wim Hof. I don't know if you know the Iceman. So I pressed play at the video. I was in bed with my wife and I made that exercise. It was 3 rounds of breathing. And at the third round, I could hold my breath for almost 3 minutes. And in that moment of silence, something happened, and I felt that is something with this subject of breathwork. And since then, I have started to study, to make courses about breathworks, and now I'm currently writing a book about breathing, as I have my own breathing technique.
That's really an interesting arc there. And it underscores how everything can change with one introduction. This gentleman you met became not only, he only opened the door for a business opportunity, but also your family. And I think it's important to keep in mind when the odds seem insurmountable or the deck seems stacked against you, you're really just one decision or one introduction away from the whole thing inverting. You've explored various areas of personal growth extensively. Which learning experience or course created the biggest shift in your own life and why?
One of the biggest shifts was learning about healing, because my wife, when she was 21, she had the beginning of cancer at her breast, and she got a surgery. And after that, at 25, this came back. And living with someone who has this kind of health condition, it's not so easy. So it made us focus and to search alternative medicines and new ways to cure herself, because they tell she has to do a double mastectomy, and also a warrior one. So we couldn't have children anymore. So it was kind of a end of days, and we started to the course what change how we think and that help her to heal herself was the new Germanic medicine and recall healing and wing wave. This new way of thinking and how they are teaching is that every disease has a emotional cause. So everything that happens, for example, if I am sick now, something happened before I got sick, or this condition has something related with our, uh, for example, 9 months before pregnancy, when I was born, during the pregnancy, and 1 year after the pregnancy, because the child takes all the emotion from the parents and from the environment and from grandparents and those in the family. Because, for example, if the mother gets sick and she dies, then the child cannot feed himself, so he takes all the emotions from the parents, so the parents can make other children. So it's kind of the nature had created this in us so we can prolong our species. And these courses had really shifted the way I see as well diseases, the world, and how we can tune to ourselves and heal our body.
That's fascinating. At first, it can sound kind of like woo woo, like how could emotions control the physical? But as you witness it, experience it yourself, and see it, it seems pretty obvious. We are not independent from nature. We are part of nature. We're part of each other. And there's, I don't know that any of us have a true understanding of how deep and interconnected things are, but uh, every day it seems like we learn something new about um, life on this planet and just life in general. So that sounds fascinating. Breathwork is often underestimated. Why is something as seemingly simple as breathing so transformative for handling stress and enhancing performance?
Yes, breathing is something that we underestimate because it's something that we do it every day from the moment we are born, and is the last thing we do before we die. This breath work is kind of, it was from when we are here on this planet, they knew about the breath work and the magical power it has, but lately they took it out so they can control the population. And yes, something related to this. I don't want to go into this topic with Illuminati and the way they control the world, but breath work, it was the alchemy of how we attune to ourselves and how we can go into our body. And what I found out that is with the breath, I can go inside of myself, and when I am inside, I can change the mindset or the programs I have, because we all have subconscious program that are running the show. We think that we run the show, but we are run by our programs that we have in our mind, programs that most of the time they are against us and they are not with us, because we have this from our ancestors, from our parents, from society. So with breathwork we can shift this, and also we can, there are some different kind of breathworks for stress, for anxiety, for peak performers, for example, if you we have sleep problems. And with the breath we can kind of, the breath is the pharmacy of our body.
I like that. The breath is the pharmacy of our body. It's always there for us. Could you walk us through a simple yet powerful breathing exercise listeners can practice to manage anxiety or regain focus instantly?
Yes, yes, of course. I can do a practice as the exercise. I do it every morning, and between, for example, if I want now to work at the project, I don't just go into the project. I like to open the window if it's possible. For those who are going to do this exercise, it's way better to do it with outside, or just open the window. And we will inhale 8 times through the nose and exhale through our mouth. And at the eighth time, we'll inhale deeply, we will exhale, and then we will stay in that moment for as long as it's possible, 10 or 20 seconds. And after that, we will inhale again. And what I do in this, when, because that is when the magic happens, when we exhale all the air out and we stay in that moment. And when I stay in that moment, I put my intention. For example, if I write up my book, I say in this moment I put my intention to put my focus into what I write, and that I can connect with my guides or with some frequencies that Tesla or Edison had used. And so I gain more knowledge and ideas into my project. So we will begin. We'll inhale to the nose and exhale to the mouth. So full in and out. 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 And this is the last one. Fully in. And on the exhale, then we will hold our breath and we will stay in this moment. This is the moment that I like the most at Breathworks, because it's a moment of calm and stillness. It's a moment where I can put my body into a coherence and I can find the drive and the ideas and the focus for the project that I want to work next. And this is the best way to get rid of the emotions or what we had previously done. For example, a meeting when there was a lot of tension. So this way we can detach of everything and we can put our focus into the next project. And when you feel that big urge to breathe, and inhale deeply and let go anything that doesn't serve you. And it's just this simple, 8 breaths or 10 breaths or how many breaths, because it's just a practice, and with time we can just, with one deep breath, we can be in that moment, because through training then we know what that moment is, and then we can access it directly as an anchor if you have made NLP or know about it.
You've studied many prominent figures like Robin Sharma, Vishen Lakhiani, and Marissa Peer. Which principle or lesson from these mentors do you find yourself applying most frequently?
Yes, I think Robin Sharma was the first mentor and the first one who have read his books, and I have studies. I also have a account of his nation uh, where he has his courses. And the most empowering thing, I think he's well known for this, the 5 a.m. club. And I also like to wake up very early, because then is the moment of silence when everybody's asleep and I can do my workout, I can meditate, I can do some breath work, I can also journal, because I also took this from him. I like to put my thoughts on paper, because this way I let my mind free to receive information from the higher beings. From Marisa Pierce, I like the I am enough method, and because we all have this unworthiness, and from our ancestors, from our parents, from school, We know that we are not enough, we are not good enough, we don't do this as it should be. And the way how she puts it into words and her hypnosis and meditation had helped me to connect with myself and find out that I don't need my father's or my mother or anybody's acknowledge or to say you are good enough, Bogdan, or you are good, or because I always crave this from my father, this acceptance, this yes, this is the son I always wanted, bravo, Bogdan, or something like that. So this is something that I highly recommend to everyone to acknowledge that they are whole inside of them, and we not we not want to crave that the external I am enough. And from Vishen Lakiani, I was in we have me and my wife have an account on Mind Valley for almost 3 years, and every night I have now bought some Sennheiser headphones, and every night when I go to sleep, I go to the meditation. I choose something that I like, and I always go to sleep with the meditation because I know that in the evening and in the morning there is a window to our subconscious mind when we are more open to suggestion and to reprogram our mind. So I put something that I like with money, with limiting beliefs, with family, because now I have a 3.5 year old son, and I like to sleep this way, because through meditation and in that window, then the mind is more open to be able to change the belief system and how we think. So I am grateful to have to live in this era where we have the technology available and we can have mentors all around the world and not be there as physically.
I agree. I like what you said about I am enough. It reminds me of this song from the Broadway play of The Lion King. They live in you, talking about the ancestors. They live in you, they live in me. And you can feel that once they've passed, especially that you're part of something bigger. And it's almost like this unlock. Uh, there is a connection that extends beyond what we see in the physical. Many people understand personal growth intellectually, but struggle with implementation. How do you bridge the gap between knowing and doing?
Yes, this was also a challenge for me because I am kind of always a student. I like to make a lot of courses and also to try to implement what I learn. But this was always a problem for me because I have tried a little bit and it didn't work out how I wanted. So I said, yeah, this is not for me. So that's why I found that coaching it's very important, especially nowadays, because we all know that Messi and Ronaldo they are geniuses, but without their coaches, they would not be who they are because a coach always says one more, do this, come, make. So it's always there to push us a little bit more. So when I started to work with, first was my therapist, and now she's my coach because she's kind of doing the same things. And I found out that I can push the boundaries, I can push the limits, and I can see that I can truly do. Or when I start something, I don't give up so early as I would do it without having someone helping me. So coaching is definitely part of something that helped me to implement and to take the information and to really put it in action, because on my own, as I said, I can, but I cannot so much because we kind of have this wired inside of our brains to kind of give up earlier than it's normally that part when we break out and really start to fly because of the conditioning, the societies. And when we are children, we always hear, no, no, no. In school, when we don't do something good, we take bad grades. At work, I work at Daimler 7 years, always only bad, 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 bad. Not once I heard the good thing from my employers and from those above. So it's then if I start something and I fail, like we can I enter I put a shield, that I don't want to feel that those emotions that come with when we fail and when we do something that is not good. So that's why it's important to have coaches into our life, because they push us and they help us do what we otherwise would not do it on our own.
When I was younger, I felt very confident and capable. Not that I don't now, but I felt more confident, more capable. And when I saw, like, a boxer or a professional athlete or a skilled musician in an orchestra, I wondered, like, what is the conductor really doing? Why is the coach like overweight? Like, look at the athlete; they're amazing. Why do they need the coach? And I didn't really understand or appreciate what exactly a conductor or a coach does, but they unlock layers of capability. And once again, going back to what I said about us being interconnected, we don't actually know our limits. We don't know how much adversity we could face, and I don't think any of us would really choose to face as much as might be required in some instances. But a coach can see things that we can't see. Each of us can see things in the other that the other can't see themselves. It's part of the beauty of interpersonal experiences. So yeah, I fully agree that coaches are transformative and very important, and that we each have a role in each other's lives. As a coach who helps leaders transform stress into performance, what's one common misconception people have about stress?
They think stress is good because most of the time at the TV, and as well when I have discussions with my father, he says, "Yeah, but stress is good because help us grow and help us develop ourselves." But what we don't understand, or he doesn't know, or we don't know, is that stress is good when it's in a short amount of time. But when it's a prolonged stress, for example, you have a boss who is always on your head, or you have some problems in the family and you have constant stress and you cannot go out from this stress, then this is harming us. Because back then in the savannah, a lion was chasing us, we ran away or we were eaten and the stress was gone. But now if the stress is continuum, then it's causing us a lot of health problems. And this will turn out into nowadays depression and mental disorders. And then when we look back what happened, then it's kind of hard to overcome this. So that's why it's important to know what stress is, what kind of techniques there are to kind of reduce that stress. And if it's something at work or at home, we have to speak with someone about it and quit the job and find someone else, or we have to do something. Because if we stay in a constant stress, then as I said, for sure we will get sick and it will not end up good.
It reminds me of that saying, out of the frying pan into the fire. We escaped the lion in the savannah, and now we have to face ourselves. So it's like a next challenge. And I think I'm in this executive coaching class at the University of Toronto, and the professor is excellent. And one thing that he says is, we are always becoming, and you continue to level up, you continue to face more challenges and grow. But yeah, I agree with what you said there. I think also that could be called like eustress is like the good stress, and then there's like distress, which is, I guess, the carcinogenic, or the stress that leads to maybe illness, like you said. Could you share a memorable example of a client who significantly turned their high pressure situations into high performance through your methods?
Yes, I have a friend who is working at Lauda, air company, and he had some problems with his colleagues. And he came to me, asked me what can he do or how he can handle this. And this is one important fact about us as humans or coaches or anyone, to truly be able to listen and not just hear. Because we hear sounds, but when we listen with our whole body. And it's kind of soul to soul connection. So it's not that I want to speak to say, to fill the gaps or to say something now or when he ends. So I listen to what he truly has to say. So I told him about breathwork and to speak with the colleagues, and to when, for example, they speak bad about him, I said, if you want to give someone a feedback, then always a bad feedback should be said through four eyes, so not in front of everyone. And he had gone to these colleagues and he told them about what he feels, because this is also important when someone is mistreating us, to tell them how we feel, and this way they can relate to the feelings, and they know that we were hurt, and then they can think that better, because yeah, they are feeling hurt about what we are do what I'm saying. So then it kind of creates a connection, and they understand it better, and they know that they should stop it. And then with some breathing techniques that I have shown him, he had kind of put himself into in body and to connect with himself. And it turned out that these colleagues were his then best friends, and they were not kind of enemies anymore, to kind of speak back one of each other, because they understood him, his feelings, and he understood himself, and also how to regulate when something like this happens.
Once again, to touch on the interconnected nature of the environment, our lives, sometimes the signals that you pick up are data for you, they're information for you. And it can, it's been the case in my life, where you might not be showing up authentically. You think you are because you're running one of these scripts almost unconsciously, and you're getting data that, it's time to exit, it's time to transfer to a different route. And once you listen to that and implement that, it can be a profound shift in the vibe and the energy and the environment. So I'm happy to hear that turned out well for your colleague. And I think there's many situations out there where the same is possible for others. You emphasize transforming procrastination into action. What's your approach to addressing procrastination in high achievers who often mask it as perfectionism?
Yes, procrastination was one of my things since always, because as I said, I tried to do things and then I failed, and I kind of felt unworthy of myself, and I was kind of the critic in my head, what kind of very bad, I told you so, this is not good how you have done it. And uh, yes, and through meditation and hypnosis and breathworks, I found out that, for example, if I want to do something and I'm kind of scared and I know that I want to procrastinate or take my phone, then I stop myself, because I know I'm going into an unconscious program, as I want to run away from that, because there are some bad feelings behind of this behavior. And then I stop myself and I take some deep breaths. And I say, okay, now I come back into the present moment. And then I do what I plan to do, and not to run away on Netflix, on YouTube, or to open the Facebook, and then half an hour is gone and say, whoa, what I have done. And as well as what I also do now is I have two meditations from Joe Dispenza, that I do one in the evening and one in the morning, because as I said, those moments are very important, as there is a gap, the door to the unconscious mind. And especially that in the morning is very important, because I connect with myself. I think what I will do during the day as two important things, and also that two bad habits that I have, and I want to rewire them, or to do them differently. And it's good because I think about what I'm not doing so good, and how, when this will happen, for example, if I take my phone and I start to look at YouTube or Facebook, then I know, because in the morning I've thought about this, and I've caught myself, like I'm an observer and I see myself as doing it. And then when I am actually doing it, then I'm conscious about that and I can stop myself. So being conscious about our unconscious behavior help us to rewire the programs and to not procrastinate anymore.
Great point. The fear of the future and uncertainty often holds people back from growing. How do you help people practically embrace uncertainty rather than avoid it?
Yes, this is very that something that I like very much is to be grateful about what we have in our life, because there is no past, there is no future, it's just this moment. And the future comes in incremental steps as this present moment. So we create the future, and being grateful for what we have and what we do helps us to create the future that we want. Because if by way we don't have a TV in our, we have a TV but we don't have cable, we don't watch news in our home. So if we turn on the TV or we go into Facebook or everything, we see wars, tariffs, pandemics, everything, lions, bad bosses. So everything is bad. So it's normal then, if we feed our mind with bad information and with fear, then it's normal that the mind will create thoughts that are mixed with everything that we feed the mind. So it's important to take some fasting from the news and everything, especially in the morning, and to focus on something. For example, I like to write what I'm grateful for, 10 things, but every day other 10 things, so not the same ones, that I am healthy, that I have a family, that. So this is very important, to ground ourselves and to be grateful for what we have. And as well, there are a lot of meditation through how we foresee our next year or what we will achieve in 1 year. So going into the future and bringing the future into the present moment will help us get rid of the anxiety and the fear of the future, because I see it as a good thing. Will happen good things in, but for me they are good, but for others can be bad, because if you focus on the bad, then you see the bad. If you focus on the good, you can see the good ones.
Yeah, I look at it almost like energy with push and pull. So, like a rocket, for example, pushes you, whereas a magnet or a rope might pull you. So, if you're attracted to something, like things that we want, sugar, lots of money, whatever, that's like a magnet that pulls you. Things you don't want, like shame or failure, that's like a rocket that pushes you. And so if you channel both, because it does seem like both are in nature, whether you want them to be or not, you actually get the most propulsion. And I think that can be the most transformative. So rather than fearing it or trying to avoid it, which I think might be impossible or certainly not optimal, channeling it. I saw this musician talk about, like, he had a traumatic past and he channeled his anger as energy. He said it's just energy. And so if you use it for you in your creative endeavors rather than let it consume you and make you sick, as you said, that's perhaps a better choice. You've explored methods like reconnective healing and quantum training. How do these unconventional approaches complement traditional mindset and breathwork techniques?
Reconnective healing is something very interesting, as uh, what is his name? Doesn't come now, because we use our hands. We all, our hands is when we are born, the first thing, our heart is formed, and then yeah, the body starts to develop, and then come our hands. So our hands are kind of a projection of our heart. So we all have, because when we get hurt, what we do, we put the hand on that place. So our hands has special abilities and they are healing, especially mine, because when something happens, I do this as well with my son. I do like this and I create kind of a ball of light, and I put this, some love, some light, something green, something that I'm grateful for, and then I give this ball of light to my son or to me, or we create this from he creates this as well in kindergarten. So when the teachers look at him, he's like he's kind of, but he knows that he has disabilities. So with reconnective healing, we can heal others or heal ourselves, and it's we all have disabilities, but we have to believe in them and to practice them, because everything that we do is a practice. When we started to drive the car, it was hard and we thought I can or I cannot, but afterwards, after a few years, then we drive it and we are driving as a program. We are done driving it consciously. So this is as well with reconnective healing. If we believe in it and we do it often enough, then we start to see that this practice really has impact on other people. Because I was now at Joe Dispenza in Basel in March, and he has some healy, some people who are doing healing on other people, and it's kind of a reconnective healing technique or something like that. And they are come together. For example, it can be the people doesn't have to be in the same room, so just the mind is going to the person who needs help. And they have it was a lady who had came on stage, and her son had cancer stage 4, and it was very, very bad. And he also done the meditation, she had done it with him, and there were also some healers who had gave him energy and connected with him. And after 6 months he had remission and he was clear and he didn't have anything. And it was kind of funny because his mother said that his son came to him and said, Mama, I can feel how they are healing my body and how the disease, the cancer, started to get into remission. So he felt the connection with those people.
It's wild, really. I mean, what you say might sound to many like fanciful or make believe, and yet, if you look back in history, not even that long, like a few centuries, they used to heal people by cutting them, putting leeches on them, and stuff like that. And that was the best and the brightest of the time. And so, I think looking back on our time now, 2025, as advanced as we feel, in 2500 or 3000, they'll be looking back and wondering like, how did they not know that they could, like, they were all connected like on the quantum plane or whatever. So yeah, I think it's the only true north, I believe, is curiosity. Any deviation from that you should maybe take as a red flag, like just check, why am I deviating from curiosity. um, your phrase, breathe and live, don't just live to breathe, is profound. Could you explain on what this philosophy means to you personally and how listeners might apply it in their lives?
Yes, I have tried it once and it kind of makes sense to me. I said, "Whoa, this is I like this phrase, so I want to use it." Because breathe and live, and don't just live to breathe. If we breathe intentionally, then we can attune with the pharmacy that we have inside of us, because we have the power to, as I said, to heal ourselves, to change the beliefs that we have, to also change the programs and to cut the ancestors family tree that we have. And because we most of the time we carry a lot of things from our ancestors, something that are not ours. And with this we can also give them back what they have and to live our own destiny and our own life, so we don't kind of repeat what they have done. Through breathing, then we can come consciously into the present moment way more faster and effectively. And then from the present moment, then we can change what we feel, how we feel, and how we can navigate into this world. Because most of the time people are just breathing, as they don't do it this consciously, so they live to breathe in the end, because they, not that they will get sick, but they will end up being old and not feeling good into their body, because they don't understand how the body works, the mind works, and how can they live longer and be healthier. Because I say that to everyone, I want to live 144 years, and my father hears, "Whoa, what kind of world are you living?" Because I think we are not living in the same world. The technology is advancing, and there are also some secrets that we can do to keep our body healthy and to live longer and to be healthy. So, and now with the help of the technology and all the information we have, those secrets are out, but we have to be curious, as you said, and to find out about them and to put them in practice and really develop them as skills. Because if we try once or twice and say, no, this doesn't work, then you will end up doing what others have done and you will not discover the real, true, and the secret.
If listeners could implement just one piece of advice today to significantly impact their lives, what would you recommend?
To just breathe through the nose, because my brother takes his son to athleticism, and this coach, he's an old man, so I don't, this is what he had learned, he puts the children to breathe to their mouth during when, high intensity. But this is not good, because the studies have done the oxygen advantage course, and Patrick McKeown says that it's very important to breathe only through the nose during the day, especially when we do some sports. So we have to push ourselves until is we can breathe just through the nose, because when we use the mouth, then we overstimulate our body, and we have gone a little bit too far. Because it's normal at the beginning, we can do not so much, but with time as well, practice, we can just breathe through our nose as well during high intensity sports, and this will help us definitely improve the life, because through the nose is made to as a filter and to breathe through it, not and the mouth is made to eat stuffs, and yeah, also to do some breathing exercise, but this is something else. So if during the day you come consciously and you remember yourself to breathe just through the nose, then it will significantly improve your life. And if you cannot, then you had a health condition, because I also have a step deviation or surgery. So definitely consult a doctor and you see if everything's all right with your nose. And if not, then I highly recommend to go to make a surgery or something like that to clear the nose and to be able to really breathe through the nose.
Where can people follow your work and get in touch with you?
I am most of the time active on LinkedIn, and I have a YouTube channel where I post some meditation and breathworks, because it's meditate and breathe with Bogdan Cristian Neag. And also the places where I'm more active. I have also an account on X, but I like more for the moment LinkedIn.
Okay, we'll put those links in the show notes. Thank you, Bogdan, for talking to us today. It was an eye opening or nasal opening experience. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much as well. I'm grateful to be part of your show and also to impact as many people, because my mission is to awaken 1 billion minds.
Well, a couple more on the way to that mission, I'm sure.